Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today we're reviewing two movies. The new Star Wars film, Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and the new Michael Jackson biopic called simply Michael. And to help us out, we have our alumni and third unofficial member, Uncle Rob.
Yeah.
Yay!
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm very excited. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes. So, guys, I'm excited because I didn't see neither of these films, and I do have questions about them. So, folks, we're going to have PJ review the new Star Wars film, and then afterwards we'll close it. Rob will be the closer with simply Michael. So,
All right.
PJ, so the new Star Wars film, for people who don't know, it's been directed by Jon Favreau. He made Iron Man. This is the same guy. He played Mikey in Swingers. I think he also co-wrote Swingers. He's done The Lion King. He's done the remake, the live action. He did the Jungle Book. He's a legitimate director.
He is a legitimate director. He's a legitimate actor. He's been in so many things. I don't know if you remember this, but Jon Favreau was in Friends.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Friends fan, but he's in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was in Friends. He was Monica's boyfriend, Pete. Yeah. He's been doing this for a long time, involved in movies and TV for a very long time.
And it's been written by Dave Filoni, a guy named Noah Clore, and then Jon Favreau himself. So, look, this is the people who you want to write the movie. This is the guys you want.
These are the people you want for sure. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I just heard, which is crazy, there hasn't been a Star Wars film in like 7 years, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, I think the last one was Rise of Skywalker, right? They haven't done anything since.
Really?
Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker tanked the entire franchise, and they've been just kind of building stuff through TV at this point on Disney Plus.
Yep. And Rob, I'm just kind of curious for you. Did you even know that there was a new Star Wars movie coming out? Because folks at home, Rob is not really into Star Wars, so it's just kind of good to have an objective thing. So, Rob, did you even know this one existed that was coming out?
To be honest, no, I did not know. I didn't know much about it at all. And I knew I was going to be on this episode. I'm like, oh, wow, I get to hear about this. Listen, I'm like Mikey said, like the everyman, even in terms of Star Wars, I don't really know much about it in general. I'm more of like the classics, the originals. I kind of always hated on anything, with the prequel stuff and whatnot. But, I'm interested to hear it. I'm going to lend an ear. But, I had no clue, bro. No idea. No
so,
idea.
Rob, let me ask you this other question. Did you know when they rebooted it, well, they had the sequels come out like in 2015, the new ones were Kylo Ren. Did you know that they were coming out then, though? Did you know that?
Yes.
Right.
So it's a major hype about it. It was a lot of hype.
Yes, it's a totally different different vibe this time around.
Slightly interested, actually, a little bit to see what they could do with this. Yeah.
Slightly interested.
Yeah, I was never a big Star Wars guy.
Right, and that's okay.
Yeah. I'm that David Lynch, man. You know that. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So
Star Wars stuff gives me, I don't know, a little bit of a headache. Okay, yes. I don't know what it is.
Yep. Classic.
The originals are my thing.
Right. So, PJ, kind of, and you're great at this. Give us the plot summary. When and where does the movie take place?
Okay. So the movie takes place after season 3 of The Mandalorian. So we are in between. We're in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and this is filling in that gap of all of the TV shows, whether the Mandalorian TV show, the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, all these TV shows are all sort of filling in that gap of what happened in the galaxy from when Luke Skywalker defeats the Empire and we meet Rey, right? What happened? There's a lot of time. What happened?
Right.
And this movie is like right in the middle of that. And we're trying to figure out what does a post-Empire world look like, a post-Empire galaxy look like.
Right. And this is kind of how the TV show was too, right? That post
exactly.
in the same time period. Okay.
Same time period. So they're like, I'm not going to recap the entire show, but basically you have the Mandalorian who, Din Djarin, who is Pedro Pascal, sort of Pedro Pascal, right? We all know that it's Brendan Wayne who's in that, except for when the helmet comes off. And then you get to see Pedro Pascal's stupid face.
Oh my God.
Man.
Right.
You really like that guy. Right.
I hate that guy so much.
Right.
However, he does do a great, I hate to say he does a great job. He lends a great voice to the character. He does very little of the actual physical acting. And for a character that shows zero emotion because he's always in a helmet, so much of that is based on the physicality of the character, which is all Brendan Wayne and not stupid Pedro Pascal's face. Anyway, So yeah, but for Rob, who maybe doesn't know as much about the Mandalorian, he's essentially a bounty hunter, much like Boba, but he is more deep into the culture of the Mandalorian.
All right.
I won't get into what that means.
I like the
really
terms bounty hunter. When I heard that about him, I did like that idea. Yeah.
Right. So this movie starts off with the Mandalorian, and he is he's on a mission to take out an ex-member of the Empire who's trying to maybe take over a little bit in the absence of the Emperor and Vader and all the other leaders who got destroyed in the Death Star exploding. And Mando shows up with baby Grogu. There's some action. There's some funny moments. I don't want to spoil it because the movie really just came out. So very high level. He takes out, he has to take out this bad guy, bring the information back to the rebellion because the rebellion, which is now the New Republic, basically has contracted the Mandalorian to get their surviving members of the Empire. And he takes out this first bad guy. He goes back to the base. We meet Sigourney Weaver. And then Sigourney Weaver's like, well, we have another mission for you. And have either of you watched Rebels?
No.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Star Wars Rebels is the best Star Wars TV show, in my opinion. I love it. It's one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars. They introduce in that show Jabba's son, Rada the Hutt.
Right. Okay.
And he's a baby in Rebels because Rebels takes place before A New Hope. Now where after Return of the Jedi, we meet Rada as an adult, and Rada has to give some information to the Mando, which brings us to the next bad guy, which brings us to... It's essentially just a series of missions, just like the TV show is.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So again, without giving too many deep spoilers, that's what this movie is. It's Mando going on this mission to fight this guy, to go find the next mission to fight that guy, to bring more information back to the rebellion to fight this guy. And it's a very fast-paced movie. You get to see Hutts in the wild on their planet, which is pretty cool. Because what do we know about Hutts, right? Jabba sat in one place.
Right.
And we're told how threatening he is, but we don't really know why. In this, you can see what the Hutts can do. Like, Rada the Hutt is basically a cage fighter in a sense. And you can see like how powerful he is and how strong he is and, how he fights. Because you're like, how could this big slug fight? But the way they do it, like he does a lot of barrel rolls where he takes the guys and he's spinning around with them because he can't get on his feet. It's just very cool visually to see the Hutts fighting.
Yeah.
We meet a new character whose name I don't even know if they say, but he's voiced by Martin Scorsese.
Wow. Cool.
Martin Scorsese.
That might be my favorite part of this conversation. Just kidding.
Yeah, he does the voice of an alien who is basically a sausage and pepper salesman in the galaxy, essentially. But he knows everything that's happening in this city and can give information.
Interesting. Okay. So
at one point, it's not the longest scene in the movie, but I guess the most impactful scenes. Mando gets beaten up and he has to get rescued by Grogu. And then Grogu now has to take care of Mando until he can, work, until he can fight again, until he can move again, because he's been completely just taken off the grid. And so now you get to see Grogu doing more than just be a puppet.
Right. Okay. So a nice little synopsis. So here's some of my questions. So
sure.
I'm assuming most of the folks at home who are listening already seen the TV show, all that kind of stuff, right? So from what I understand, I don't know that I haven't seen the TV show. I just know it through all the memes, and I just kind of know it through there. So at one point, Grogu does go back with Luke Skywalker, right? And then he comes back to Mando, right? They teamed up again.
Yes.
So I guess my question is, why are they working? Why is Mando with Grogu again? Like, does Mando say, like, look, in order for me to complete some of my bounty hunters, I need someone who has force powers to like blow open a safe.
Grogu chooses not to stay with the Jedi.
Uses some Jedi mind tricks to help get Mando what he needs.
Grogu is essentially at this point the adopted son of the Mandalorian.
Okay.
He chooses not to stay with Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker and learn the ways of the Jedi because his heart belongs with who he considers his father, who is the Mandalorian. So he leaves the Jedi. He's not a Jedi. He doesn't want to be a Jedi. He's a baby. But in the way that Star Wars is Star Wars, it doesn't matter that he's a baby. He has the Force and can make these decisions on his own. And he doesn't want to leave his family. Because if you remember, we've learned throughout history through Star Wars, the Jedi take their children away from all their attachments.
Yeah.
And Grogu doesn't want to be taken away from his attachments. He wants to stay with the Mandalorian. He's like, I don't need to be a Jedi then. I'd rather be a Mandalorian. Mandalorian isn't a race of people. Mandalorian is lack of a better term, a religion.
Yeah, like a code. Yeah,
like a code. So you don't have to be a human or have to be a whatever race. You're just adopted by the Mandalorian. And Grogu considers himself a foundling of the Mandalorians and doesn't consider himself a Jedi and doesn't want to learn from the Jedi. He wants to.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But do you think he should become a Jedi or like stay with the Mandalorian? Like, where would you go with that? Like, how do you feel?
I mean, if they said, "Hey, write our next Grogu movie," I wouldn't have him as a Jedi. I would have him as a Mandalorian who can use the Force, because the Jedi don't exist anymore anyway, as we know. So who's going to train him to be a Jedi? Rey? Who wants to see that?
Oh, God, I think no, please, God.
Yeah. So
big turning point.
I think having Grogu in the future as a Mandalorian who can use the Force is a much more interesting idea.
Right. So I guess my question in this movie, he's just basically like kind of his sidekick. He doesn't really, and at one point he kind of has to just bail him out. Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. So what's the overall vibe of this film? Like, is it just like the TV show? Is this kind of, because just for me, it kind of reminded me of the Predator Badlands that we saw earlier this year, which was totally Predator, just completely Disneyfied. And I know obviously Disney owns Star Wars, but this is just really geared towards the audience who watches The Mandalorian. Like this has
absolutely, this is geared towards people who like the Mandalorian TV show. It's exactly what.
So there's no real stakes in it. It's kind of more child, which is fine.
I don't think it's any more child friendly than any other Star Wars or anything like that. Are there real stakes? I mean, this isn't a Skywalker saga movie. This is just an adventure that these two people. It's just an adventure film. Right? It's just
so it's kind of just right. So it kind of like remember the Ewok movies, like Battle of Endor and that kind of stuff. Like,
I mean, it's better than those, but
but I'm saying like this. It's like a spin-off. It's a spin-off, and it says no real stakes to the thing.
So as a very casual fan, would I have any interest in seeing this? Like, would I even understand anything that's going on? Like,
I mean, they give you enough information to know that this is a bounty hunter that the New Republic, which used to be the rebellion, has employed to help them take out members of the Empire so they can continue to build a better galaxy. They give you enough information to know who he is. All you need to know about Baby Yoda is he's Baby Yoda, right? You don't need more than that. You don't really need to know his backstory. You could go in there and you wouldn't feel like, what's going on? I feel lost. I wouldn't say that. What you might struggle with, which I think a lot of casual fans are going to struggle with, is there are some characters in this movie that are only recognizable to like a handful of people. You know what I mean? Like they have some deep cuts in there. Like, oh, I've seen this guy on an episode of this cartoon. I've seen this type of alien in one of the comic books, which is cool for me. It doesn't take you out of the movie if you don't know who they are. It just doesn't have the impact of like, oh shit, it's that guy, unless you know the deep cuts.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I guess where are you, PJ, with this? Are you recommending this? I'm kind of in a weird, because I'm getting a vibe like you're recommending it. I feel like you recommend it at the same time. Not really.
Yeah, I think it's fun I think it's a very fun movie. It's a fast-paced action-y movie with some sci-fi stuff, some good effects, and it's perfectly fine, the movie. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. I'm not going to pay to see it a second time, but when it's on Disney Plus, I'm sure I'm going to want to. This is a movie I will watch again just because it's fun. It's not an award-winning masterpiece. It's certainly not the best Star Wars movie ever made. It feels more Star Wars-y maybe than some of the last couple of movies, in as much as you have AT-ATs, you have stormtroopers, you have the Mandalorian, which essentially is just a dude that looks like Boba Fett, right? So I mean, it feels Star Wars-y. I don't know that you need to be a diehard fan to appreciate or find some of it entertaining, aside from the deep cuts. But also, if you don't see it, you're not missing anything.
All right. Okay.
Do you feel any kind of emotions? Anything? Sorry, go ahead. Anything emotional?
No, go ahead. I knew what you said.
Any emotional feelings? Like, I don't know, even just in terms of like happiness, sadness, any kind of like moment where you like took it in like, wow, that was special. Like anything like that?
Yeah, so I'll give you a spoiler. Spoilers for anyone listening. When Mando is taken off the board, I won't say how because I don't want to spoil all of it, and Grogu is bringing him back to life, it does get kind of emotional because you have this child who has to take care of himself for the first time in his life and take care of his parent. And he has to find ways to eat and he has to find a way to help the Mandalorian. And it's like, you see Grogu going through it, right? He's like, I just want to take care of this guy who's taking care of me. And then obviously we save the Mando, right? We save the Mandalorian. And there's like that moment where you're like, that sigh of relief, like Grogu feels relieved and Mandalorian is relieved that his child is safe. And they say the line in the movie is, the old care for the young, and then the young care for the old. This is the way. And this is the way is the big quote from Mandalorian. Like, that's the thing. This is the way. And like that whole scene of watching Grogu have to take care of Mando, does have some feeling behind it and emotion behind it. And despite the fact that this is a cute little green puppet, you get the emotion out of the puppetry and out of the practical effect.
So for me, it sounds like you're leaning towards really more of a wait for it's on streaming kind of viewing.
If you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, definitely go see it. If you're not, and you just see Star Wars because they're usually the big event type of movie, that's not this movie.
Okay. And then what would you give it, like, out of 10?
I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's good. Okay. It's entertaining. It's just, it's not a Skywalker saga movie. So you can't go into this expecting, even Last Jedi, which was we've shit on that movie enough. We don't have to shit on it more. Mm-hmm. Or Rise of Skywalker, which is another one, right? Yeah. Even some of the prequels, they're not the greatest, but they still have that gravitas of being a Star Wars epic film. This doesn't have that because it's not part of the overall Skywalker saga. It's not meant to feel that way.
Right. Out of these spin-offs, when I speak of spin-offs, I'll say Rogue One. What's the other one called?
Solo,
and this. Where does this one rank out of those? How would you rank those out of the three?
I happen to love Solo, even though it's not anyone's favorite. That is actually the most Star Warsy of all of these spin-offs. So I would probably say Solo as my favorite. And then, people love Rogue One. I would put this above Rogue One for me.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed by Rogue One. I mean, it's impressive.
It's a great war film. Yeah, it's a great war film. But I went into that movie Rogue One saying like, well, I know everyone's going to die at the end of this. So again, when you talk about there's no stakes, like that whole movie to me I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's well shot. It's well directed. The Rogue One.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about it. It just, for me, I'm like, whatever. I don't care about these people because I know how all their stories are going to end the minute the movie starts. So it takes me out of it on Rogue One. For as impactful as it was, it's for me, I'm like, whatever. I'm never going to see these characters again. Whereas with The Mandalorian and Grogu, you have a connection with them because of the TV show and more will happen with them. Disney's not going to let these two cash cows die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're going to see them again. So there's more of an emotional attachment to the characters, which makes you care about the movie more.
Yeah. I think one of the things you mentioned before, I'll go with a slight rant, is Pedro Pascal. I know everyone has Pedro Pascal fatigue. And
hate his guts.
PJ hates him. Look, first off, the guy's a great actor. And I think one of the things, I'm just saying this like in general, I think if I was an actor, is like, I think there's so many like iconic roles. Like think about, just say Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's known as a Terminator. You're like, oh, Mike, he's done a bunch of action movies. He still is the Terminator.
He's a Terminator.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like with Pedro, it's like, I don't think you can become Reed Richards. I don't think you can become the next, he's going to be Magneto next. Who knows he's going to be next? I think he needs to know his place. Like Hugh Jackman's like, I'm just going to be Wolverine. I'm not going to start
for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm not going to be, the Joker next, you know what I mean, or something like that. I just feel like that doesn't help. I think when you become too much of an iconic, you're known as this character. It's hard to go into another franchise. I should say you can still do action films and all that if you wanted to, but it's hard to become another iconic thing. Like I know Johnny Depp at one point, he obviously he was Jack Sparrow. He tried doing it was a flop. It was a Lone Ranger and
all this
other stuff. It's like, bro, you have I think you have so many bullets. Like you're Edward Scissorhands and you're Jack Sparrow. You know what I mean? Like I think. But there's like different realms. Like that was like a romantic, movie, and then Jack Sparrow's adventure film. I think you can't become 20 different superheroes.
Too many cookie going on.
Yeah, you can't. I think Pedro needs to just stay doing this. Anyway, I think that's where the turnoff is, because it's like, oh my god, he's in Fantastic Four. He's in everything. He's in another big franchise, which is the what's it called? The Last of Us, right?
The Last of Us.
I think it's just it just doesn't. I don't know. I mean,
we want the last of him, right?
I'm surprised casting directors.
Creepy. And I don't like watching him be creepy. And I look, every time this dude's on the red carpet and he's touching people, and then he's like, well, I have anxiety and I feel better when I touch people. Why you only feel better when you touch women?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I think it's creepy. It turns me off every time I see him.
Did you know what his answer to that is? This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way. So, he was also awful in Wonder Woman 1984, which isn't his fault.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's too many.
Awful,
that's what I'm saying. You can't be these gigantic, franchise. It just, I don't think it works,
it doesn't.
with certain, it doesn't work,
Pick a lane, stay in it. You don't get to be in
taking away from the
franchise.
characters. It really is. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, here he is again. Oh, it's him again. Oh, he's gonna act like this
If
again.
he was just the Mandalorian,
then it
he would
be
go
fun.
down in history as being the Mandalorian.
Exactly. And then he could do other movies, stuff like that. If you want to go, all right, do Gladiator 2, all right, do whatever turns you on. But you can't. I think for his casting or his manager, be like, yo, I think you shouldn't do, Fantastic Four. You shouldn't
but he keeps getting casted.
I know.
He's winning though. So what's going on with the casting directors?
I know.
What's their problem?
Because he's a draw. He's a box office draw because everyone seems to know who he is and he brings people in. It doesn't bring me in to see a movie because he's there.
Me neither. No.
Yeah. I just don't think.
Let's be honest here. Like with the Star Wars movie, the cast isn't what brings you into a Star Wars movie.
It's the characters.
Star Wars brings you into the Star Wars
right.
movie.
Yeah. No, of course.
And I'll even need more than that just to get me in there. But yeah.
I'll say my big negative for the movie, for me. I thought this movie would be the culmination of, I guess I'll call it the Mandalorian era of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
You had the Mandalorian TV show. You had the Boba Fett TV show. There's the Ahsoka TV show. There's been a lot of stuff happening that's been building towards something. And most of these shows on Disney Plus have been well received. Book of Boba Fett, not so much.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka, people like that. Obi-Wan, people like that. So I thought this movie was going to sort of be like I said, that culmination of, all right, how do we end the story for this time period and then build on something in the future, right? How do we wrap up the story of the Mandalorian? How do we wrap up the story of Grogu? How do we move forward so that the next thing we can understand is how do we get to The Force Awakens? And they don't do that. They don't.
That's what I was going to say. Where do we go from here? Like, what was the point of all this? If it's just an episodic film, that it's might as well just been, which people's biggest criticism
it could have
just
been a season.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. Because that's what I keep hearing. It's that, like you said, it's fine. It is what it is. It's not awful. It's not terrible. It's fine. But it could have just been an episode, or it could have just been a made-for-TV movie that has. But like you said, how is it not set up The Force Awakens in some kind of capacity?
It doesn't set up anything. It's just one adventure of these characters, which is, again, it's fun and it's fine, but it could have been a TV show. One of the guys at the shop, we were talking about it yesterday, and he made a really good point. He was like, season 3 of The Mandalorian could have been the movie. And he's right, because the stuff that happens in season 3 where he takes out the villain of like the first 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a good ending for that character. Be like, all right, well, now this is how we moved forward. The Mandalorian has taken out the guy that looked like he was going to take over the Empire. And so that's how we get into the New Republic. That's how we get into Force Awakens. Would have been a better ending as a movie than just flying off to the next adventure, still working for the New Republic. Like okay, like what are we doing? Like, are we gonna have another Mandalorian?
Is there another episode coming? Like in the theater?
Right.
Is that what they're gonna do now? Make it a whole series?
That's kind of how it felt. Like, what do we do? Like, you could do these movies forever because.
And they don't have this idea though. These, production companies, they like this. Oh, let's make another one. They'll come out. They'll see it.
You could make 1,000 of these because Pedro, if you don't take his helmet off, you see Pedro Pascal's face for 5 minutes in this movie, 10 minutes.
Right.
He could talk. He could voice over forever. You never have to see his face. Grogu is a puppet. You can make Mandalorian baby Grogu adventures for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And because there's nothing matters in as much as we know where we're going to wind up, which is eventually with The Force Awakens, we introduce Rey.
Right. So
that's to me the biggest letdown is it doesn't lead to anything new.
Right. And it goes back to the sequel trilogy where it's like, why was none of this planned? Why is there no purpose? Why is there no direction? So
yeah, that's again. So do I recommend it? If you're a huge Star Wars fan and you want to go to the movies, you'll have a good time watching it. If you're not a huge Star Wars fan, you have a passing interest, wait for Disney Plus to play it in a couple of months. I mean, either way, I don't think I would have enjoyed this less on the TV in my living room than I would have on the big screen. I think not only doesn't even come from the fact of the quality of the movie. I'm used to seeing this character on a TV screen.
Yeah.
So it's seeing him on the big screen is cool, but it won't lose anything by watching on a TV screen. Like if you saw the next chapter of Luke Skywalker's saga was on the TV, you might be like, Luke on the TV doesn't feel special.
Yeah.
Mando on the TV just is what he is, so who cares? You know what I mean? So like this doesn't get my viewing experience isn't enhanced by the big screen.
Well, actually, that might be a good segue to go into Michael Jackson film because the reason why I say that is it was directed by Antoine Fuqua. And it's written by, oh my God, where's his name? John Logan. Okay.
Okay.
And let me tell you why that's important. Because John Logan, he wrote Gladiator. He wrote The Last Samurai. He wrote Any Given Sunday. He wrote The Aviator. He wrote Sweeney Todd. He wrote Rango. He wrote Hugo.
Wow.
He wrote Skyfall. He wrote Spectre and Alien Covenant and Penny Dreadful TV series he created. So obviously the guy has a long catalog. Look, some were better than others, and sometimes that comes down to director. We know all these things, but nonetheless, a great writer. And hey, maybe Star Wars might need a guy like that to really bring it back to basics, learn how to tell write a good, great story. And Antoine Fuqua, I love this guy. He did Training Day, he did Southpaw, and Olympus Has Fallen, and he's done some music videos. And Rob, I'm going to ask you, if you ever seen these music videos, Rob, have you ever seen Gangster's Paradise by Coolio?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, man.
He directed.
How many times have I seen it? The question,
yes.
Right. You had to leave that on. You had to leave that on.
Mm-hmm. Rob, have you ever seen Prince's video, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Let's go.
Right, those are probably...
We love Prince,
right.
You know?
I mean, his probably biggest video is probably Gangster's Paradise, but Antoine also did music video for, these are the bigger ones that people are going to know. He did Lil Wayne's Mira, and he also did a Three Doors Down music video for Citizen Soldier. That was the name of the
Across
song.
genres, too, I could see here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and a lot of directors actually started off in music videos. Think about David Fincher. He did, Janie's got a, Janie.
Well, back in the day, music videos were almost like little mini movies.
Yes, they were so cinematic. And people at home, Uncle Rob is a huge fan of Michael Jackson. So, whoa! For the folks at home, my Lord, holy cow. So if you're just listening and not watching on YouTube, Uncle Rob just busts out his fedora and sparkly glove. And
if you were just a little paler, you'd look a little bit more like Michael.
Oh, man, I'm trying. Yeah. Oh, my God, that's a good thing. What era, though, of Michael do I look like? Oh, I'm trying to answer that question. What's going on?
But yeah, and Rob, if people at home... Rob not only loves Michael Jackson's music, he can also dance like Michael Jackson. Rob has...
I didn't know you were such a big Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah, man, listen.
I didn't know that.
Maybe around high school, actually. I saw a dude in high school do the moonwalk down the hall. I'm like, I have to learn how to do that. And then it kind of like started from there, I think, where I got more into him. Mikey, even our father, growing up, he did play Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
So he had his albums and stuff like that, so I did hear it that way. But yeah, it built... I mean, I'm not one of those guys who knows like every little detail of his whole entire career or whatnot, but like, oh yeah, and my MJ stuff is more like a party trick, I call it, like I'm at a wedding or whatnot, a party trick MJ. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't? That's what makes Michael Jackson so, amazing and popular, is because he crossed over genres. Everyone liked his music, and that was the biggest reason why I think he got so popular, because anyone could really listen to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, before we get into the review, quick question.
Yeah.
Prince versus Michael Jackson, who do you like better? You like Michael better?
I love Michael Jackson better, yeah. Prince, though, is right up there. I love Prince.
Right.
He's so talented, like, beyond, like,
they're both
multiple
insane.
instruments, he sings, right? But I gotta go MJ, yeah.
You gotta go MJ?
Oh, yeah.
So then who do you go, Mikey? You go MJ or Prince?
This is a good one for Mikey.
Because I'm really torn, because both are influential on me in many ways.
Yeah.
But if someone put a gun to my head, the question is who I think is better? Like,
who do you prefer? Who would you rather?
Who would I prefer? Oh, I don't know.
One of them didn't exist. Like, one of them has to no longer exist. Who would it be?
Oh, one of them has to no longer exist?
Oh, my God.
No, I'm still picking Prince either way.
Okay, if you're going to sit front row, would that make a difference? I don't know.
I think I choose Prince.
I might have to.
Wow.
I might go Michael Jackson, as much as I love Prince.
Cool.
Yeah, because... but that's really hard. That's funny.
I thought TJ would go Michael Jackson. I thought maybe you would go Prince.
I know, because I adore him too.
No, he's close. I really love.
I mean,
Prince
both of them. Yeah, this is insane. But Rob, I'm curious, because you saw Michael the movie in person. I'm not sure if you brought your glove and your hat, but
I did not. I thought about
but it's
it.
a little different, because, and I think it's the reason why we did this, because yes, both these movies came out at the same time, but they both have a fandom. They both have legacy, and I mean, oh my Lord. So Rob, I want to ask you your review of the film, not only as an objective, Rob's very good at objective film review, but also as a fan of Michael Jackson. So Rob, kind of give us what the movie's about, where to take, what's the timeline of it, and then we'll ask the fan of you what you thought of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So first of all, I'm not really into biopics, believe it or not. Sometimes I find them a bit corny, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
A little bit too, I call it hallmarky. Kind of Hallmark feeling, like. They're not really telling the true story, or it's even like the acting kind of be like a little fugazi, a little like on the cheap,
Yep.
Yes, I am an MJ fan, but I will normally say things the way it is. Like, if I didn't like it, if I hate it, I'm going to tell you, But I gotta say though, for a biopic, I really did enjoy it. I think they did a good job with it. It definitely paints him like on the positive end of his like career. It takes you from the beginning. It starts off actually as soon as the credits roll in, it's like and like
Whoa.
you just see the credits are rolling up. I'm like, oh, this movie's gonna be
awesome.
awesome.
They have credits. I love opening credits. Yes.
Yeah, minimal, but like Lionsgate, I think popped up.
Right.
Nice, perfect.
Lionsgate, and she was with my sister. I'm like, oh, I like leaned over. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
The easy part though, and again, I didn't want to fall for it, and I didn't. But the music, like you can't help. But
yes.
as soon as he has so many great songs that it keeps you even throughout the whole film, engaged. You're kind of waiting for the next tune to pop up. But anyway, so it opens up, want to be starting something, and then you're entering his living room as a kid, and the father is, having them rehearse in the living room. The mother's watching, and it kind of picks up where they're working on their show, whatnot. The father has this idea to create, the Jackson 5 or whatnot. And you see right from the beginning how Joe Jackson is just an ass, honestly. They made sure they did that kind of like throughout the film too. We all know this anyway.
Yeah.
Just really hard on the kids, really hard on MJ. He kind of makes fun of him right from like early on in the get-go, making fun of his nose, straight up going like big nose and shit like that. Then he's like kind of whipping him with his belt. So, you have this hate of Joe Jackson really throughout the film, which you all knew about anyway. But they did a really good job kind of showing you, where he started with his humble beginnings. Joe Jackson, yes, kind of reminds me also of like the Serena Williams father. Like, you could raise your kid maybe to be something special. So that's respectful. But the way he went about it was a bit much like on his boys, on the Jackson 5. But it shows you they're rehearsing, then they get noticed like with this chick from the Motown. He gets signed with Motown, and they're doing the Jackson 5 thing. And then through like, when he meets Berry Gordy in 1971, and how like Berry Gordy kind of saw how he could be a solo artist, and he kind of gave him the hints on that. And then his father was just always up his butt about continuing with the Jackson 5. And then you kind of just like rooting for Michael Jackson throughout, and you could see how he had a tough time not really growing up in a normal childhood. You saw that kind of taking it on. Like he would even say like, oh, I can't really go to school because all the kids now are asking for my photograph and like in my picture, and like autograph. And he feels already kind of detached from his like childhood life. So they did a good job of showing that. And like the father again being just terrible, honestly, and no one having like the guts to kind of tell him like the F off. You know what I mean? Then it shows how he has his ideas of like being a solo artist, doesn't really have the nerve to kind of pull away from his father. And then he meets Miles Teller eventually, who is a lawyer that he kind of like connects with, who eventually gets him like kind of fire his father from being his manager. And then like every time he wanted to break away, his father was over there kind of put like a stop to it. He kind of reminded me of the father of like Saved by the Bell, like any kind of show where there's like a bully.
Yeah.
And like every time something good's gonna happen, like the bully shows up, or even Back to the Future where like George is about to do something and like everyone just goes like, oh, like this is what about he's about to blow up with a storm, like, oh, Joe's gonna step in again.
Right.
Or when he's finally getting there to do something, Joe's gotta put him down. Or, Joe Jackson was talking about how he wanted the family to have this business of like doing the music. So when Michael wanted to break off, he was like, oh, it's about the family. Don't you care about the family? And then MJ gets a shot for his first solo record with the Off the Wall in like 79, and he wants to tour on that, but his father's up his ass about, no, you got to do the stuff with the brothers. So he does a tour with the brothers, kind of like as a final send off, and you kind of see where he just wants to break away so bad. So they did a really good job with that. And then when he does like his final tour with his brothers, it's in his own head that he knows he's gonna like break off. So like the last show, he goes, yeah, and this is gonna be the last show, with the Jackson 5. And like the father just can't believe it. And like you find there he's gonna finally break away. He had his big Motown show where he breaks out the moonwalk. That whole thing they portrayed really well. And then it kind of leaves you off. I'm kind of jumping around sort of, but like he does a Thriller video, he's working on his bad stuff, and it leaves you off in 1988 when he's finally doing his solo tour really officially by himself in 1988, which ended sort of abruptly. But so it kind of takes us from 66 to like the 79 when he's got the Off the Wall. He does his Thriller stuff, but he never toured, on Thriller. He never really had a chance. Yeah, he never really had a chance to go out and do that because his father wouldn't really let him, to be honest.
Wow.
Then he had the Pepsi commercial that his father kind of.
Did they show his head go on fire and stuff?
Right. So they did actually a really great job with that, even with the special effects, I guess you could say. That and MJ didn't want to do that. He was trying to break away from his father at that point, and his father was up his butt about it. He had Don King now involved. Don King gets him the Pepsi commercial. MJ doesn't really want to do it. He does it for his dad. And then sure enough, he gets injured. You know, they did a really good scene with that. The way he kind of spins, honestly, to try to put out the fire. Honestly, then he's in the hospital, super depressed again. Like right where he was like, peak was about to have like his explosion. Now he has to recover, and they show like Joe Jackson go like, you know, when is Michael gonna get back on his feet? You know, we have a tour to do. Like he's got 3rd-degree burns.
Right, very demanding. Yeah.
Then he's on his pain meds, so like people think that might have been where he started with the meds. But you can really see how like you know, his life had great moments, but where it kind of could have put him off track, or like with his shitty father and his no childhood, and then he gets injured when he's about to blow up his MJ with the Pepsi thing, and then he wants to tour, but his dad's making him do now the Triumph tour with the Jackson 5, like, and then he finally breaks away. But Jafar Jackson, I think, was excellent.
That's his nephew, right?
This is the nephew of
Jermaine.
MJ. Yeah, this is Jermaine Jackson's son.
And he looks like his dad too. He looks just like,
he did such an awesome job with it. He really, like I said, like I heard years before he was practicing all this stuff to really know it. And like people are gonna be a stickler, you know, especially for MJ. Like that,
I know.
I give him credit for even wanting to pull it off, and he did. You know, he did it really, really well. All the moves, his mannerisms he had down, his speech, his whole like I don't know, his pronunciation, like everything. You know, and then you could see too, like it really showed you where MJ became himself before like all the child abuse allegations and whatnot. They didn't really show that. I actually heard they rewrote some of that.
There was a whole controversy. I don't know if you heard about that. They like had a whole movie filmed, and then they found out they couldn't use most of it because of the lawsuits. They had to cut it all out of the film.
Yeah, so they had like reshoot some things or whatever. So he definitely kept it on the positive end. You're kind of pushing for MJ, all that kind of like stuff like that. You see how he gets into the animals that he had in his house, a giraffe, Bubbles. You know how you know he had this like eclectic way about him, but you know you could kind of see where it all came from too. But the acting was great. Yeah, Jafar was really fantastic. Yeah, I think obviously most MJ fans should see it. I think anyone could really see it because you know MJ so well.
Yeah.
Like I said, it did stop a little short. Like right when he was finally going to get his chance, you were rooting for him the whole time, and then to kind of break off, and then he hits that 1988 time for the Bad Tour, and it kind of ends right there. But we know there's going to be a sequel. You know, no spoiler. There's going to be a second one.
Wow.
Where I'm very curious to see what they show in that one.
Yeah. Cool. Because maybe. Yeah, that was great, Rob. And I've heard that this, like people are saying, there's a little bit more sanitized story. But now, like you said, like they had a remote, you know, edit things out. It sounds like maybe the sequel might kind of go in the more darker realm. You know.
I think so.
So.
But maybe still dance around something.
Yes, of course.
Well, they're not allowed to mention any of the sexual misconduct lawsuit stuff at all. They can't because of the way the lawsuit is, or whatever, how that went down. I don't think they're even allowed to mention any of that. So I don't know that the next movie is even going to focus on that. So I don't know what the next movie would focus on if they're not, because that's the next part.
Yeah.
Is all of that.
I'm very curious. I'm probably going to have like the highlight probably might be the Super Bowl when he performed. I bet they're going to do that well.
Oh, yeah.
But they showed the Thriller video and the Bad time, the Bad film, you know, the writing of that really well and stuff like that. And
so
Beat It. I mean, I think him Beat It. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious for the soundtrack. Did they just focus from songs from the Jackson 5 to 88? So they're not going to hear Black or White then. You're not going to hear like You Rock My World or You Remember the Back.
They didn't do that. No. Yes. Which I'm happy about. I'm happy about that.
Do we get Smooth Criminal or is that later? Do we get Smooth Criminal or is that later also?
That's going to be later.
Yeah, that's on Dangerous, right? I think.
That is on... Why am I drawing a
Smooth Criminal was in the 80s, so
it might have been the 81 because Bad isn't Bad.
That's on Bad.
Oh, yeah, so Smooth Criminal has Bad, right? So I think
Dangerous. So we're going to see that. We're going to see that probably in the next one.
Right.
Well, we passed it already.
Well, Bad I know has Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Speed Demon, Dirty Diana, Smooth Criminal. But they didn't. I guess they didn't include that song in the movie. I think what Mike was saying. Yeah. There's too many songs, like you know what I'm trying to say. So
there's
even Man in the Mirror. I mean, that's a huge song. But they didn't really have.
Right.
He didn't go off in that yet. But I think with this one, I think I might pick up on that tour, and you'll probably see these songs in the next one. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Do you remember years ago? I think it was a VH1 like made for TV like series. And it was Michael Jackson's like biography.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, everyone saw that. Yeah,
everyone saw that, and I have a vivid memory of like the mouse dying. They set like a mouse trap, and his mouse dies.
Ben,
his rat.
Well, Ben was actually. I was
gonna say, do they have Ben in the?
Yeah. So like when he's in his room, and whatnot, like kind of like secluding himself from the family, just like struggling with his like no childhood, whatever. You see him getting involved with animals, right? So he has the pet Ben. He's got that great song about Ben, and actually, I'm pretty sure that at times like. they used the Ben like little
like the motif, whatever. Yeah,
like behind some of the slower scenes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure now. I don't know if it was that or if I'm mixing it up, but I'm pretty sure it was that song. They would like slow down exactly like with the motif in the backdrop.
Okay.
Yeah. So they used that for sure. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. I was about to say too, like what's like the I was gonna say, how's the music in the film? I never see the Michael Jackson songs, but it sounds like they do like orchestral renditions. I guess through like maybe some, I'll say like dramatic scenes. Not gonna start playing Smooth Criminal when like his head's on fire, and I'm sure they might play a darker version of like like Ben. That melody and just make it more darker or slow down, or so was that kind of the thing there?
I think more or less with the Ben, I would say that song. But most times you were really going through his course of the years, waiting. Like I knew, this is probably going to come up next.
Yeah,
and you're waiting for that next hit song. So his own music really took you through. So you were just waiting for the next performance. So like you saw the Motown performance, like I said, Thriller. You see in them how he created that, how he came up with the ideas. Really like smart and creative. You saw that end of him also, like with his writing and like. Even speaking of Thriller, like he went to, I think it was CBS who owned like MTV at the time, or had a big connection. Like he gave them all their artists to MTV, and like MJ went to the office, was like, "You're playing my video like on MTV. You need to contact MTV right now and find a way to start playing my shit, even though they don't play black artists."
Right.
So like the guy called up MTV. They're like, "I don't know if we could do that." Blah 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 blah. And like I guess this really happened. The guy's like, "All right, then we're gonna pull like," and he mentioned like 10 huge artists from like their rotation or MTV, and he goes, "I'm pulling all of them right now unless you play MJ." And then sure enough, he did, and like MJ kind of like changed the way of music videos after that. Like it was just so cool to be reminded of all his big moments of his own ideas and like creativity. Even how he waited to do the moonwalk until like the Motown thing.
Yeah,
like he really could do that move already, but he saved it. Like there was a lot of cool things. Actually, like this. He was swimming around in a swimming pool, like on a lounge chair in the pool, and he was trying to think of like his next song. And he's like, "I gotta think of this next song before they send it over. Before God sends it over to Prince." He said that in the movie. I was surprised that was a good joke, but that was always a conversation too. How a lot of times MJ and him kind of had a competition, like an unofficial competition.
That's funny.
No, I hear there's almost an alternate reality piece to this, where this is a Michael Jackson that's set in a world where Janet doesn't exist.
Right. So I think with that, Janet didn't want to be a part of this. And I think initially she might have been in it and they were close, and that's his younger sister, whatever.
Right.
But they had to kind of like write her out. Like she was never like shown in it, not mentioned in it. Her name's not mentioned in it. And you don't really notice it. It can go on without it. I was kind of bummed about that because they do have a good relationship. And then with the second one, I feel like maybe they would show her more because she ends up becoming her own artist.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, we have to get to Scream.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is a great song. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe she'll show up in the second half, Maybe she'll allow it. But that's why they removed her from the universe there. Yeah.
And Rob, I'm just kind of curious because folks at home, Rob and I saw This Is It, the documentary. About that was going to be his last tour, and they ended up passing away. Then they released it. But when Rob and I went, it wasn't really a packed theater. It wasn't that kind of movie, it was a lot of people. Anyway, at the end, when they were playing the last song, "This Is It," Rob and I actually started dancing, and then everyone else started dancing in the theater. So, Rob, I'm curious, was at the end, I don't know, you don't tell us what song they played during the credits, but were people dancing at the end in the aisles of the theater?
You know what's funny, Mike? I wanted more of that, but it didn't really happen. I think we had a very like low key crowd. I think people were sticking around until the end of the credits. I will say that.
Is there an after credit scene? Is there an after credit?
You know what's funny? I had to wait to the end. I was like trying to check my phone. I'm like, I was telling like my system, I should have checked this beforehand, but there was nothing.
Right.
There was nothing. Yeah. But we went out kind of like skipping out, but I really didn't break into any formal dance.
Oh, okay.
But everyone was kind of like just happy. No.
Right.
No, but the crowd was feeling it. I think everyone was like happy, and like you heard a little bit of clapping, but nothing where people broke out into dance. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good question. That's funny.
So Rob, what would you say? What would you say? What would you like as the film review? What what's the score out of 10, and then what's your score as a fan?
Right. Okay. I think honestly, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
I know. I never go this high.
It doesn't sound bad. Everyone loves it, right?
I know.
It sounds like the only reason why critics don't like it because they don't address the, I'll say the darker issues to make things simple. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie, though. That's if its movie's executed what it's luring to do, then that's it. That's the same thing as like a documentary. Documentary is taken from the point of the writer and director.
Yeah.
Right? So there's films that are very left wing or very right wing. We say, oh, it's automatically because it says both sides. Well,
that's high praise though.
That's what it is. That's how it's
you
made.
kind of nailed a lot of things. No, I was just gonna say, right, exactly. Like, this is what it was. I knew what the story was gonna be. We know his story for the most part anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, I was gonna actually give it an 8 for those reasons, to kind of like dance around some of the stuff. But like, did I really want to see all the sexual allegations? Maybe in the second one we'll get there. I don't know.
Right.
But like,
I agree with that. I actually
knock the
don't
movie
want to hear about that stuff anymore. I
Yeah.
really would prefer it just be about, for me, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but I would prefer it just be about how he came up with all the brilliant ideas he came up with
Exactly.
for his music. Like, how did he, this guy is a musical savant.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what it
there's
does.
no one else like him, and I'd rather just learn more about that,
Exactly.
than worry about the other stuff. That would probably make me like it more, not having to sit through. All right, we get it. We have to talk about this again. Like,
that's why,
especially because it's never been proven that he actually ever did anything. And,
exactly. That's why you have to be careful with that too, because it hasn't really been. And like you said, it paints him in a positive light, which I think we should all be reminded of. This dude's one of a kind. Like, just watching, I'm like, this guy was so amazingly special. I'm sorry. Like, as an entertainer, I still think he's like the best. He could do so many different things, and it reminds you of that. It took you to the story, really, really well. The acting was on point. His dancing was on point. I was ready to like critique that, because to be on that level, you got to really know it. But they told the story really, really, really well. The kid also who starts off playing MJ was also amazing at the start. Like, little MJ was really excellent also.
Do they use like the recordings for the singing, or does Jafar and this other kid actually do the singing, or do they use Michael's singing?
Like lip sync it?
Yeah, you know what's funny? Exactly. I didn't look. I should have looked more into it. I wanted to. I think the kid might have sang some parts over MJ's, I think, tracks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think Jafar, for the most part, is basically like being overdubbed. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, I'm like, I'm not trying to like overhype it as a 9. And again, this is me seeing it as a biopic. Like,
But
it really gave you everything you wanted. Like, I didn't walk out there going like, oh man, they really messed that up. Like, that didn't happen. If anything, the negative might have been I wanted a little bit more where he finally had his solo spot. Like, they kind of, you wanted a little bit more of where he finally was, you were pushing for him the whole movie. And then it kind of like, oh man, it's ending right now. Like, really? But other than that,
for me, the bar for these movies, because like you said before, I don't usually like these kind of like musical bio movies. They're not for me. The only 2 I ever really saw was like, I loved this movie, was Walk the Line and The Doors.
And what was
The Doors?
Yeah. I thought the Doors movie was fantastic.
Wow, really?
Like, that's not Val Kilmer. That is Jim Morrison. I think those 2 movies set a bar, and all the other ones that have come out, the Queen movie, the Elvis movie,
I couldn't get through the Queen movie.
They're just like, like a drag. So does this reach the level of a Walk the Line, which I think most people consider the best of all these kind of movies? Does it reach that level of a Walk the Line, or better than the Walk the Line, not as good as a Walk the Line? Because I always feel like Walk the Line is regarded as the best of these sort of movies.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It was funny, like, when I internalize and try to answer questions like this or rate movies, it's tricky. And I think we'd all agree with comic movies and action movies and whatnot. Okay, now Walk the Line, and even a movie like Ray.
I was about to say, like, I
Ray
think
was like really well done. And sometimes it comes down to like the story that's being told in between everything else. Like, I think Ray almost has like a deeper story than like the MJ, and even the way it was told, it might even be better than the MJ movie. The way like the storylines, I can't explain it. Like, maybe there's more depth to it. Like, MJ was more of like not performance based, but like you're hearing a little bit of a story, performance, some story, performance, and like maybe just simpler storyline, like a baseline. Where I think there might have been more depth actually in terms of Ray, or maybe even Walk the Line, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, Walk the Line, like
a movie than a biopic too, though.
That's,
you got to be careful.
Exactly.
Where MJ was more biopic, like straight up, this is it.
Right. I think it's funny because hear me out. Because I think because I'm not really a big fan of the bio films, but I think these aren't in particular. I think the ones that I think are the best are Ray, La Bamba, and Walk the Line. And it's funny because Michael Jackson, this film almost has the same kind of feel as Purple Rain, which is Purple Rain is a little more of a quasi biography of Prince. It's not. It's it's half real, half fake kind of thing.
Right.
But it's in the same realm as Michael. It's funny how Prince and him are again, are in the same realm in terms of their biopic. It's really more entertainment, where something like Walk the Line, Ray, La Bamba is really like the story. I think Rob is saying they're more narrative of their life story, where the other ones are kind of celebration of their talents, and how they got there. So
exactly, and just to add on to that, that's where I was going with this. Where not that they're giving me more of a movie in Ray and like Walk the Line and like, but I'll say this: like the Michael movie, I wouldn't go sit and rewatch it as much as I loved it. Because I might as well go, put on his tour that I have on DVD.
Right, you just watch him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really rewatch it. But Ray, I could watch that again. Walk the Line, I've watched like 10 times.
Yeah.
It's on TV. It's like it's just a bit different. It's really weird. Even though I will watch Michael again, but I wouldn't run out to go watch it a bunch of times. It's not like that. Even though I still give it a 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storyline and depth of it, like we're saying here, is just different. It's a different feel to the movie. Yeah, that's how I would answer that one. But yeah, overall, man, definitely go see it. I would recommend anyone go see this. It's great.
Fantastic.
I really believe that.
And it's making huge numbers. His career is already huge. Now he's number 1 on Spotify. This kind of
I know.
things.
I love it though.
It's insane.
Yeah, I saw that he's number 1 again.
So he's probably
not even death can keep Michael Jackson down.
Right. I think he's probably the most popular person that's ever lived. Besides, doing a Beatles reference here, like Jesus, he's bigger than Jesus. But I mean, someone like Michael Jordan was huge. Elvis was huge. Michael Jackson is like a different level of popularity, man. I mean, like it's, he's like Beethoven. He's like Mozart. He's gonna be talked about. He's gonna live forever. They said they say you died twice in life. Last time you take your breath, someone says your name for the last time, and MJ is definitely gonna be living forever.
And he's memorable for so many things. Even like his operations on his nose, like they took you through that.
Oh wow! Oh, so okay, so they get some deep stuff in there, or some things like that.
Oh yeah,
okay.
he talks about how he blamed it on sinuses. He told his dad when he came home with the bandage. He's like, "Oh, it's because of my sinuses." Meanwhile, he had like the
right, like a
rhinoplasty or something like that.
Right.
But he took you through his nose changes too, actually.
Oh, okay.
It also probably doesn't get to the part where his nose is basically falling off of his face.
No, maybe in the second half.
Maybe
it
the second
off.
one.
I don't know. Yeah. Right. That.
But Rob, sounds like you're recommending MJ to
definitely recommend.
So
it's like an easy one to watch. Like I said, MJ is so well known, and I think most people do like his songs, so you really can't lose. It's easy. It's an easy movie.
Oh my God, it's full circle, guys. Because Captain EO, right, was the Michael Jackson, right? That was in Disney World.
It was, yeah.
And I think who the hell did Francis Ford Coppola direct the? Who did it?
Captain EO?
Right. And wait a minute, your connections.
Right, Mike.
Right. Martin Scorsese was in Grogu and the Mandalorian, right? Scorsese directed the music video Bad. Oh my gosh. Wow. It was destiny that we did this review together. Oh my gosh.
Well done.
Yeah, EO. Captain EO was directed by Coppola, but written by George Lucas.
It's all connected.
Yes.
It's all
my
connected.
God. Just another pot of man. Oh my God. Guys, it's amazing. God. Yes. Oh my gosh. Holy cow.
Well done.
Right. And then oh my God, then Michael Jackson kills Joe Pesci, who was in Goodfellas, who was directed by Martin Scorsese and the Moonwalker film.
It's all connected.
Oh my God. It rhymes like George Lucas would say.
Rhymes. It does rhyme.
Holy cow. All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening. Thank you, PJ and Uncle Rob, for helping us out with these reviews. And same time, same table.
See you later. Guys. Have a good one.
Later.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.